All right, so this is part 3, guys. We're talking about eagle's nest because there's a photo of the eagle with the hay, and we started talking. Can you share with us?
So yes, I'll do that. So basically, about 4 weeks ago or so, the female laid some eggs up in these nests, and I find that it's all over the place. You know, I watch about 5 different nests from here to Cincinnati, and they all do the same thing. The eggs are up there now because I know that because one of the eagles is always in there. And then they do. It's interesting because after about 3 or 4 hours, the other one will fly in, hop into the nest, and then the one that was in the nest will take off and do its thing, maybe go hunting or whatever. And then so they take shifts. And now, right now, they're bringing in some hay softer hay into the nest. So what's happening is that these eggs are going to be hatching here in the next week or possibly 2. And they want it to be all nice and safe and comfy up there for these little eaglets to start their lives. And now at that time, the one parent will always be there until the eagles will get, and it doesn't take that long, about as big as they are. So they get to that adult size pretty quickly, and they have like a child would have training wheels on their bike to keep them up. The little eagles, the eaglets, start off with some big feathers, and they actually end up being at first bigger than their parents until they start to lose those over time, and then after about 4 to 5 years, they start to get some of that white on the white head and the white tail, and over those years you'll start to see a little bit, you know, they start to kind of salt and peppery a couple of years into it, and so
okay.
So yeah.
When do they start flying? When can they fly out of that nest? Because it's way up. Those nests are way up there at the top of a tree, you know?
So what they'll do is after they hatch, probably 4 or 5 weeks, they'll be just sitting in that nest. 6, 7 weeks, they're still in the nest.
Okay.
And they get really big, and I'm thinking, go ahead and start flying. But eventually they do. After a few months, they'll start to kind of hop around the tree where the nest is in. They'll hop around from one limb to the next and just kind of getting their bearings and a little more, confidence in themselves. And then eventually, I think it was it's probably maybe more like June, August, I think they started to really fly. And then they'll fly around. They'll get way up in the air, and then they'll come back down to the nest, and they'll stay in the area for a little while. And then after a while, they take off, and they're not to be seen really anymore.
Yeah, and do they, I mean, they're on their own. They got to hunt and...
On their own.
What do they eat?
They eat fish.
Mostly?
Primarily, yeah. Now, I did see some hunting other stuff up in the Eagle Creek area over the winter when it was all frozen over. But they'll go to some of the dams at some of the lakes around the area.
Do they get squirrels or chipmunks or not?
They will.
Roadkill?
A couple years ago, I saw one carrying a snake up to the nest. There was a long snake hanging behind it.
Okay. Up
to the nest. So they'll eat whatever, but it's primarily fish that they'll eat.
And that's incredible how they just reach down there with their
yeah, they could see. First time I went out to go watching these birds. It's been 3 years or so ago. There was one on a tree, and he was looking around, and they got those sharp eyes. And all of a sudden, he turned to his left, and all of a sudden, he took off. And about a quarter of a mile away, there's a little pond there. I saw him go towards the pond, and then he curved around like a military jet would, kind of curved around real quick, and went straight down where I couldn't see him anymore.
Okay.
And then he came up about 10 seconds later towards where the nest was, and he had a fish in his talons. So he saw it from like a quarter of a mile away.
Yeah.
Went down there, grabbed it, and came back.
Bam. Well, that's incredible. I mean, that timing and that, how much do they, how long will that feed them for? Will that keep them busy?
I don't believe they eat every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll hold them for a little while, depending on how big they are. But,
and if you turn around, there's a red cardinal there, right there.
Yeah.
So there's a red bird. So yeah, we'll leave it there, and that's exciting. Thank you for sharing that, Adam. And we'll just watch that cardinal fly away, and that'll be our segment. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Have a good nature together. Keep those photos, and we'll see what else we can discover in this planet.
Exactly.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.